Welcome to the deep dive. Today we've got this really interesting set of notes someone sent in. They're from the chiropractic field, apparently written under the name Twisted Thoughts.
Right, and on the surface they look like just, a couple of quirky anecdotes.
Exactly. But our mission here is to dig a bit deeper, see what we can pull out about seizing opportunities, adapting when things get tough, especially when you feel totally unprepared.
Yeah, because these stories, they give these surprising examples of people just saying yes first and then, well, figuring it all out later.
Okay, so the two main ones. First, there's this chiropractor, Dillon. He gets roped into doing yo-yo tricks for his daughter's class, completely out of the blue.
And then the second one is about a guy named Deepak who claims he can play the cello at an audition, even though, well, he can't at all.
Not even a little bit. Okay, let's start with Dillon. Dillon, the accidental yo-yo legend.
Right. So the scene is Dillon's daughter, Lola. She finds his old yo-yo, dusty, probably from when he was a kid.
Yeah, a total relic. And his wife sort of teases him, saying he used to be a yo-yo master.
Which apparently was based on him, messing around with it as a kid for maybe a week. Nothing serious.
But kids take things literally, right? So Lola's at school. The teacher asks for a word starting with Y.
And Lola pipes up, "Yo-yo, my dad's a yo-yo master," just like that. Innocent boast.
Innocent, but with consequences. Because next thing Dillon knows, boom, email from the teacher. Could you come perform for the class?
And here's the critical part. Dillon's reaction.
What does he do?
He just says yes, instantly. No,
Nice.
let me check my schedule. Or, it's been decades.
Yeah.
Just yes.
Wow. That immediate yes. That feels like a key moment. Like he didn't give himself time to talk himself out of it.
Exactly. It sort of short-circuits that whole analysis paralysis thing. He committed, so now his brain has to figure out the how.
And figure it out he does. The notes say he goes out, buys the best rated yo-yo he can find online.
The Amazon special.
Yep. And then he spends the next 2 nights glued to YouTube tutorials, practicing, seriously practicing. Moved his work schedule around.
Total immersion, chiropractor by day, yo-yo trainee by night. It shows what happens when you suddenly have a very clear, very unexpected goal.
Okay, so performance day arrives. Dillon's feeling, reasonably okay about his crash course skills, ready for kindergartners.
He thinks he's got this.
And then the teacher just casually drops, "Oh, by the way, I've been showing them professional yo-yo videos all day. They're super excited."
Ooh, talk about raising the stakes. Suddenly, he's not just dad with a yo-yo. He's being compared to pros.
You can just imagine his stomach dropping. What does he do?
Well, the notes say he pivoted like a boss, which I guess means...
He uses his chiropractor skills, gets the kids up doing posture exercises.
Smart. Buys himself time to think, engages the kids, uses his actual expertise. Very clever under pressure.
Fully, and his actual yo-yo strategy. Brilliant in its simplicity. He asks the kids what tricks they want to see.
Oh, nice. So he's basically crowdsourcing the routine based on stuff he might actually be able to do, or at least attempt.
Exactly. He's managing expectations, involving them, and then he does the classic walk the dog trick. But he renames it walk the cat and adds meowing sounds.
Seriously?
Seriously. The notes say it was pure chaos and the kids went absolutely wild. Legendary status.
Yeah.
Achieved.
That's amazing. The renaming, the sounds. It's that little bit of unexpected fun and improvisation that made it memorable, not necessarily the technical skill.
And get this, he even made coloring pages of himself as a superhero called Backman to hand out.
No way. He fully embraced it.
He did, and 3 years later, the notes say he's still known as the yo-yo master at that school, a local legend.
Wow. Okay, so for anyone listening, think about that unexpected request where you felt totally unqualified. What can we take from Dillon just jumping in?
Yeah, his willingness to just try, even when he wasn't, actually a master.
It really wasn't about the yo-yo skill in the end, was it? It was about the effort, the adapting, the fun he brought to it. Enthusiasm trumped expertise.
Okay, let's shift to story number 2. Deepak and the cello, which he couldn't play.
Right. This one is described in the notes as completely bonkers. And yeah, it kind of is.
So Deepak's at some kind of audition, casting call, something like that. L.A., high-pressure environment already.
Definitely. You got to be ready for anything out there.
And someone just asked him point blank, "Hey, do you play cello?"
And Deepak, knowing full well he has 0 cello experience.
What does he say?
He says, "Yeah, totally, I play cello." Just like that. Bold. Very bold.
Whoa. Okay. That's next level. Say yes and figure it out later.
Isn't it just, he basically created an opportunity out of thin air by, let's call it aspirational truth-telling, But now he has to deliver.
And the scramble begins. 20 minutes later, he's apparently frantically Googling how to play cello in 24 hours.
Can you imagine the panic, the sheer adrenaline? But maybe that intense pressure actually helps sometimes, forces focus.
Could be. Because the stakes were high. He didn't just get a small part.
No, he lands a role. Where?
On the season finale of Modern Family, playing cello in Mitch and Cam's wedding scene.
Get out, that scene, the iconic wedding.
Yep. National TV, his own trailer, the notes just say, "Zero chill," which feels accurate.
That's insane. From never touched a cello to Modern Family wedding scene in basically no time.
So how on earth did he pull it off?
Resourcefulness kicks in. He borrows a cello from a friend.
Shout out to Eddie.
Right. And then he just drills the absolute basics. How to hold it, how to look like you know what you're doing with the bow, the finger placements. Just enough to fake it convincingly for the camera.
He didn't need to be Yo-Yo Ma, just needed to look the part for a few shots.
Exactly. Minimum viable skill acquisition under extreme duress. He understood what was actually required for the scene, not what being a real cellist entails.
And it worked.
It worked. Pulled it off completely. Nobody suspected a thing. The scene airs, becomes this big TV moment, and his secret cello ignorance remains intact.
Incredible. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many times have you maybe thought about saying yes to something but held back because you weren't 100% sure?
Yeah, what was the fear, and what might the reward have been if you'd just gone for it like Deepak? Although his approach is maybe on the extreme end of the spectrum.
Definitely pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's zoom out. We've got Dillon, the yo-yo dad, and Deepak, the pretend cellist. What's the connecting thread here, the big takeaway?
Well, I think the main thing jumping out is this idea of action, of just starting, being in motion, as the notes put it, rather than waiting until you feel perfectly ready.
Because we might wait forever.
Right. Both of them, Dillon and Deepak, faced things where logically maybe they should have said no, or at least let me think about it. But that initial yes just set everything in motion. It created its own momentum.
It really is that say yes, then become
Yeah.
idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Trusting yourself to figure it out.
Yeah. And that requires adaptability, resourcefulness. Dillon pivoting when he heard about the pro videos, using his chiropractor knowledge.
Deepak scrambling to learn cello basics, borrowing the instrument, focusing only on what was needed for the camera.
Yeah, both showed that ability to think on their feet and find solutions under pressure.
Is it just confidence, though? Or something else? Maybe just a willingness to risk looking silly or failing.
That's a good point. Maybe it's not about being sure you'll succeed, but being willing to try anyway. Trusting your ability to learn and adapt more than fearing the potential failure. Viewing the challenge as an opportunity, maybe.
Yeah, like a growth opportunity disguised as panic.
Something like that. Now, obviously, we have to say, this approach, it's not foolproof, right? Saying yes when you're totally unqualified could backfire spectacularly.
For sure. There are definitely risks. You need some judgment there.
Absolutely. But these stories, they highlight the potential for amazing things when it does work. When that leap of faith is backed up by hustle and creativity.
It challenges that need to feel 100% ready before starting anything.
Exactly. It makes you wonder how often we hold ourselves back waiting for that perfect moment that never quite arrives.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into these twisted thoughts, maybe a final thought for everyone listening.
Go on.
Think about some area of your life right now. Where are you? Maybe waiting. Waiting to feel totally ready, totally qualified for conditions to be perfect. Could a little bit of that, say yes, figure it out later, energy actually unlock something new for you? Even something small.
What's one tiny yes you could maybe consider today, even if it feels a bit scary or outside the comfort zone?
Because that edge of the comfort zone, that's where the interesting stuff often happens, isn't it?
It really is. Dillon and Deepak, their stories are fun, maybe a bit crazy, but they do remind us that sometimes the best moments come from just saying yes to the unexpected and trusting yourself to handle it.
And remember, these insights came from those notes titled How to Become a Legend in 24 Hours or Less, Twisted Thoughts.
Hopefully this has given you all some food for thought, maybe a little nudge towards your own potentially legendary moments.
Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.